All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Taka Gamer Zone podcast. Today's date is December 17th of 2017. It is a magnificently dreary, overcast Sunday that's nice and cold, but, beyond that, we're ready to start podcasting. This is going to be episode 3 of our continuing podcast that you guys will be able to see every Sunday over at our YouTube channel. Just search Otaki Gamer Zone. You'll see our little wonderful mascot as our icon, and just want to click on that subscribe as well as that notification bell so you guys can hear whenever our latest podcast goes live. So for today's podcast, it's going to be a pretty Star Warsy one, considering that we've just watched the premiere of Last Jedi. We watched it Thursday, December 14th. We had the 10:25 showing at our local Alamo Drafthouse Theater, which, by the way, if you guys have a local Alamo Drafthouse, I highly encourage you guys to go see The Last Jedi at your Alamo Drafthouse. They have a superb menu to accompany the film, and the sound system is just out of this world amazing. So moving on, just to give you guys some forewarning, there is going to be spoilers ahead. So if you have not seen the film or watched it, just bear in mind you guys are going to be in spoiler-based territory, because I'm going to be giving some feedback and some impression upon the actual film itself. So starting off, I want to talk about the direction, and the direction that Star Wars is moving is causing some concern among the fans, both longtime fans that, like myself, didn't really grow up with the original trilogy, as it came in theater, but it was the trilogy that our parents showed us, as they're the ones that physically grew up with it. So coming from somebody who grew up on the original trilogy, then watched all the sequels, and is now watching the new trilogy, I can say I very much enjoy the direction that this new and exciting universe is heading in. Now, of course, there's going to be some individuals who really don't see it that way and in that light, so just bear in mind this is not going to be a film that will probably sit well with most people. For one, the direction, it's very inclusive. It runs inclusively. There's a bigger focus on diversity, which, frankly speaking, at this point in time, I don't know why that's a bad thing. More diverse cast is awesome to see. It's awesome to see strong, independent female leads who don't need to be held back. And, that's why Princess Leia was such an amazing character. She was a strong, dynamic female lead that really wasn't the damsel in distress, because she was the one that ended up taking charge of that escape plan in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So really, Star Wars is a great experience. And the ending of Last Jedi, some are going to love, some are going to hate. And basically what it boils down to is the movie is going to portray the fact that this is a band of nobodies. We learn that Rey is potentially a nobody. Whether or not Kylo Ren was lying to her, that is something to be seen for itself, whether that was true or not. But, based upon Rian Johnson's final scene, in the movie, we go to a wonderful Canto Bright planet where it's basically like a casino, lavish world planet where the rich have profiteered off of war for both sides, and they spend their money, and Rose and Finn end up going there to search for a codebreaker for the Resistance in their time of need. But in long story short, there's these kids that are being held in these, they kind of work with the creatures of their version of horse racing, and, they're downtrodden children. The ending shows them, kind of playing and reminiscing over, like Luke Skywalker, the legends of this Jedi, playing, and, they have an abusive overkeeper and stuff who chases them off when he discovers them playing and stuff. And we see just one kid just casually use the Force to grab his broom and then ends up looking at the night sky. Rose's rebellion, or, resistance, but now they call it rebellion ring on his hand. He's holding the hilt of the broom like it would be a lightsaber. And this film series is pushing into a direction that is going to be focused on the downtrodden, the nobodies of society, the overlooked. And while some people really just wanted this to be another movie about the Skywalker trilogy, which it is, following the Skywalkers, but this is technically the last one when we're ever going to have any Skywalker being kind of, main cast type situation. It's something to note that not a lot of people like that because it's too different. And that's what's funny is that Force Awakens got so much bad rap for being very similar in pace and style to, Episode 4, A New Hope. And then when they went in this drastically different direction, now everybody just doesn't like it because it's too drastically different. But I think that's what makes Star Wars beautiful, is the simple fact that it can be moved in any direction. It could be different. It can be similar. It could be nostalgic in whatever way you wish it to be. But frankly speaking, I do enjoy the direction. And what most fail to realize is this is not about the old cast. This is about a new generation. Throughout the movie, you hear them talking resistance, but then they switch over the wordage to rebellion. And they do that purposely because we're back in a situation where the First Order now has control of the galaxy, or a decent part of it, and it's now a rebellion once again to fight against the oppressed, the oppressors. And it is a movie that I think is tactfully well made and done. Rian Johnson did a wonderful job. His work with color is something that is just jaw-droppingly beautiful. Case in point, Snoke's throne room. You've seen it in bits and pieces of trailer, but the stark contrast between the black, grays, and whites and then to the deep crimson red of the backdrop and his Praetorian guards is just visually and aesthetically pleasing. There's been, this movie has some of the best choreographed duels between characters, and frankly it opens up with a really big space battle number that you don't really get to see in many other films aside from Revenge of the Sith, where that opens directly with a giant space battle over Coruscant. It's not as dynamically diverse, but man, does this series open up and goes out swinging very well. I like the approach and everything about it, and frankly speaking, I will be going to see it again this coming Tuesday. But it just kind of remains to be seen at that point of how well, the episode 9 is going to end up being, because they have a direction that they're going in, and it's going to be interesting to see where that leads us. And frankly speaking, well, I'm not going to divulge many more spoilers. I just kind of want to talk about that because not a lot of people like the Star Wars just for reasons because they think it's stupid. They think it's dumb, the direction that they're going in and how they portray the Force. They do take liberties with that. They don't like anything about that because, frankly, these are people that I hear every day at my day job when I talk about cell phone technology. Oh, why are they changing this? Why did they change that? It was fine the way it was, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, change is something that always happens, whether we like it or not. The more we embrace change, the easier it is to accept it. And frankly speaking, I think a lot of Star Wars fans just have a hard time letting go of the Skywalker lineage. I mean, the thing that if you look at the expanded universe, for what we now call Legends in the Star Wars book series, there was always a Skywalker at the center of the story. The Skywalker line, the Skywalker this, the Skywalker that. The last, start of, era of time, legacy era, as we call it, like 141 BBY, or ABY, sorry. They had a Skywalker in that, Cade Skywalker, who, ended up saving the galaxy and redeeming the sky, kind of becoming a true Skywalker type sort of fashion. And I think that's what people enjoyed, and they always thought it would be about a Skywalker. But I mean, you don't need a Star Wars story about a Skywalker. And a case in point, Star Wars Rogue One, one of the best received Star Wars movies since Empire Strikes Back, had nothing to do with Skywalkers at all, or Jedi, or, besides Darth Vader's cameo in that movie at the end as Sith. You don't have that focus, and it did amazingly well. So that's just my impression. That's just my personal opinion as to why some might be upset. But then again, there's other reasons. Some just don't like the direction. Some pointed out plot holes, which personally for me, I find some difficulty finding, though I see some of it with Snoke more so than I do with any other characters out there. But it's just interesting to see, this kind of backlash. No one's ever going to be pleased with one thing, and that was something that J.J. Abrams mentioned going into filming The Force Awakens, was that his very much biggest fear was making a movie that he liked himself personally, but he wouldn't have known if everyone else enjoyed his same vision. And the majority of us did enjoy his same vision. And sure, a lot of other people didn't. They thought it was too similar. They thought it was just crudely ripping off, that. They felt, that George Lucas's original vision has been tainted and blah, blah, blah type situation. And that's just the fact of it. It doesn't matter. It's not in our control. We're not the ones that license hold, the Star Wars trilogy name or titles or, licensing right. Disney holds that. So it is to them what they wish to do. Really, as fans, the most that we can do to change about it is we write our own stories. We write fan fiction. Maybe one of you out there is writing something right now to submit to Disney and to see if you can get it published or something. I don't know if they're just accepting open writers or something like that. But, it's just how it is, unfortunately speaking. But I do enjoy this latest entry. Again, I will be seeing it hopefully again Tuesday, provided I can get tickets. But I think it's a very good movie that we need in a time like this, that shows us that, even if we feel like we are nobodies or we're, the downtrodden or the, repressed or whatever have you, that there's always hope that, even with a single spark, a great flame can burn. It can be born from just the tiniest of embers. And this movie does a very good job at portraying that. And I think it's something that we need to see more of in Star Wars. And hell, Disney even has, so much faith after Rian Johnson's creation with this movie that they're letting him helm the next trilogy, which thankfully is never going to have anything to do with a Skywalker. And I think it's better that way because we get a better depth, a better access to different things in the larger Star Wars universe. And now that the Star Wars universe has been reset because of Disney's purchasing, there's a whole new world of exploration out there that can be explored, that can be talked about, that can be introduced. And it's very, very interesting to see how that direction is going to end up going. Now, outside of Star Wars the film, Star Wars Battlefront 2 did, of course, also receive the Last Jedi DLC update, which brought to it the Galactic Assault map of Crate, which is featured actually at the very end of the movie. And while I will not talk about much, the way the game plays out, the game version of Crate, is very different from how the movie version plays out. So just bear that in mind if those of you who've already watched the movie and were thinking about playing are getting Battlefront 2. The Crate DLC is still the same planet, still the same base, but again, it's very differently structured. But it's still a very fun map. Finn and Phasma are latest additions. They're very awesome, very fun to play as. I personally enjoy Phasma. That's just because I enjoy the Imperial-sided characters. I just find their rigidness, their uniformity interesting and intriguing at best. Though the Resistance new weapons that they added in the game are very nice. They sound very authentic to the source material, which they should be, of course. But beyond that, though, I haven't looked into seeing if they added a new Starfighter Assault map, blast maps, or anything. But the new Battlefront DLC did add an expanded story on Iden Verso's character from the original campaign. And unfortunately, I will say this, the additional story is unfavorably short. It's about 3 or so missions long, and you can easily complete it within an hour or less, depending on how fast you work and how fast you play. It's very short. It doesn't leave off any better than the original one did, and I think to me it just feels utterly rushed, which is the disappointing aspect of that. I know they wanted to meet the Last Jedi deadline date for them, pushing this out. But in all reality, they could have taken their time with it and still incorporated all these details, all these aspects. And, case in point, the opening act of Last Jedi features a First Order Dreadnought ship. In the Battlefront DLC, as I did when you guys stow away on an a First Order starship, they download schematics for a Dreadnought class ship, which then, they tie into showing, how they were able to, defeat the Dreadnought in the Last Jedi movie, which really speaking, most people that watch the movie probably don't even know about Star Wars Battlefront, probably haven't even played it. They probably even didn't watch it. So in that aspect, to me, it was just purely lost on me. Why they only did such a short amount when they could have just ran it more. Sure, they may have had to push the DLC out, but what they could have easily done is just not release the single-player campaign with the DLC. They could have expanded upon it, worked it out, patched it out more, because it's just very slapstick thrown together, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like a cohesive story experience. Now, the base single-player story, you could complete it in 3 hours as well. It wasn't anything to bat an eye at, but it at least felt cinematic. It felt quality. This latest DLC edition, it just feels so thrown together that it's rather disappointing, which thankfully it's free DLC, which you can't really complain about. But I don't know if the free DLC thing had any affecting factor in the story quality for the Battlefront 2 single player DLC edition or not, but it should be really worked on a lot more than it really was. So that's slightly disappointing, but overall the experience of the new crate map is absolutely fun, frustrating for the First Order at times, but quite fun overall. So up next, we do have a few manga that we are reading right now, so you guys can expect some upcoming manga reviews, hopefully before this year's out. I really just need to get them done before the year's out, but I do have 2 items from Viz Media that I do have sitting on my to-read stack, which I'm slowly just thumbing through as we speak. I also have 2 digital copies from 7 Seas Entertainment that I'm also thumbing through, albeit digitally in a digital fashion. So hopefully we'll get that out soon to you guys. I don't really want to say what I'm going to be reviewing, but it should be kind of obvious. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that all pans out in the end, but I think it's going to be quite fun. It's going to be a good read. The latest review, one that I just got, is actually based on a real book and movie, so again, that's equally interesting to see it in manga format and actually see how it plays out. I was assured by the Seven Seas press rep that is actually pretty on par and truthful with the story and the actual real book and movie, so we'll see how that actually goes. It's just very interesting to see. But, that's really what I have so far. Anime, I'm trying desperately to get back into. Suffering from burnout and depression, it doesn't really help you when you're trying to just sit there and want to watch something because you just don't feel up to it. You just don't feel in the groove or the vibe to do something about it. So hopefully that changes sometime soon. Just depends on everything else. And as far as gaming content that's upcoming, it's going to be hit or miss. Money is always a tight issue with us, so that's why I always unfortunately push donation links and stuff using Amazon affiliate links because it helps us get free money. Essentially, you just buy what you usually buy on Amazon and we get a small portion of that back. It's not much by any means, but if I have enough individuals using it, I can actually make quite a bit of money from that link, and it helps me supply myself with my own review material, so that's also a great plus. But hoping for the Nintendo Switch that I can get some, extra goodies. I kind of still want to get Super Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I just don't know when or where that opportunity will fall, unfortunately. And then, of course, Destiny 2, I still need to get the DLC for that. That's another $20. So, it adds up pretty quickly when it comes to gaming. And for me, I've always traded stuff in towards whatever I'm going to get. So, I don't have anything I can trade in right now. So it makes it really difficult. So we'll see how that goes. But beyond that, though, for 2018, now turning our gaze towards that. Don't know why I'm trying to guise something. I'm not hiding, but no. 2018, though, I really want to focus more on cosplay photography. It's something I've dabbled in this year. Did a lot more with that at Anime NebraskaCon, which made me very ecstatic and excited for. And it's now pushed me to open up commissions for cosplay photography on our website. So that is an option. I don't know how well it's going to be used or received, just purely based on the fact that, it's local photography and just depends on, if somebody out here who really wants to, get their picture taken in cosplay. So I'm nowhere near very professional, but, it's something that I just want to try to do and get my fingers dipped in more so, which I'm really hoping will turn out very well for NakaCon 2018. There's some big plans I have with that in terms of videography side of things, as well as photography, of course. Cosplay will always be a primary focus of mine to take pictures of and engage with, but outside of that, that's really what we have. I am also trying to push towards a camera upgrade. Not that my D5500 isn't working fine. I just need something a little bit lighter to work with when I'm at a convention space that doesn't take up as much space as my current Nikon does. It's quite a big camera when you look at it, when you actually have more than one lens with you and you have video recording and microphone equipment. So it's just a little more tedious than it needs to be. So I'm hoping that if I can get an upgrade before NakaCon, great, awesome, cool. If not, we'll continue on as we always have and hopefully try to bring you guys some better content that we can produce from that. And the podcasts are tying into that in one form or another. We're trying to give you guys a little bit better diversity of content so you guys can enjoy some random stuff. But As far as, photography coverage goes, we will be attending NakaCon, and I do very much believe I will be trying to attend Anime St. Louis that year as well. I believe that falls in July. So not really back to back, but it will be pretty quickly coming up. So that will be interesting to see. And then, of course, we'll have the Japanese Fall Festival in my local city of Springfield that will come up in September. So no shortage of content there. And unfortunately, I highly doubt that I will be going back to Anime Nebraska next year, just due to the simple fact that it really wasn't anything special, or it didn't really turn out to be anything that I felt was worth it in a sense. But, I'm wrong sometimes, so we'll see again how all that pans out and shapes up to be. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying our photography content, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying our video streams more too. We've been trying to stream games a little bit more. It's been a little bit harder because our internet is atrociously terrible, and I can only do it at certain times, as my roommates also, of course, use the internet, which, it's not really fair to say, hey, I'm streaming, you can't use the internet this time, but makes it a little bit more difficult, makes it a little bit more tedious, and kind of limits when I can do it. But just hoping you guys are enjoying that, if I can speak properly today. So that will be another plentiful edition. I will probably maybe do something New Year's Eve. I really don't know yet. As much as I would like to do a stream for New Year's Eve, I really want to catch up with anime, so I might just binge watch a lot of anime and then probably just start talking about it. So we'll see how that, really goes and shapes up. But beyond that, though, guys, that's really all we have for this podcast. So if you guys do enjoy this, we, of course, always have this featured on our YouTube channel. We appreciate any likes, comments, and subscriptions that we can get. And if you guys would like to purchase, kind of use the camera equipment that we use, we have links for that always down in our description below. And as always, guys, this has been Costas with the Taka Gamer Zone. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your weekend and have a wonderful start to the Christmas holiday. Take care and enjoy. Peace.